Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering the Bud Light controversy. Bud Light is in a state of total collapse. Great article from Outkick, my new favorite website. Bud Light collapse proves common man controls this country. Absolutely proves it. Let's get into this article. Before we do, please be sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys. There's a lesson to be learned from the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. You still control this country. The government, media apparatus, and so-called influencers control the messages, but the common man controls the results. Corporations across America often neglect their customer base in favor of public relations. They mistake status for success. Last month, Bud Light Vice President Alyssa Heinerscheid said that the brand sought to rid itself of a fratty and out-of-touch standing by releasing a commemorative can on which appeared the face of Dylan Mulvaney, transgender influencer. The company assumed critical acclaim would meet the brand upon the release. Perhaps some puff pieces from the New York Times would follow, and maybe some nice tweets from the trans community. Those are often the results of teaming up with a trans influencer. Though this time, the pandering backfired. Bud Light consumers hijacked whatever positive PR the company received, or former Bud Light consumers. Bud Light sales have continuously dropped. In April, volumes of Bud Light declined 21.4%, while parent company Anheuser-Busch recorded a fall of over 12% for all of its products. This is affecting much more than just Bud Light. The Bud Light sales decline are now affecting Anheuser-Busch's other big brands, according to new data. It's not just Bud Light anymore. It's the whole company, all their known brands in the United States. Anheuser-Busch carried a market cap of $132 billion for the week prior to releasing the Dylan Mulvaney themed can. The market cap now sits at $126 billion. That's roughly $5.5 billion gone. It turns out that not only journalists and television anchors can damage $1 billion institution, so can beer buyers, people without large social followings, local bargoers, and fratty consumers. The phrase "go woke, go broke" is a cliche, and cliches are what unintelligent people turn to win an argument. I do that sometimes, I have to admit. But the slogan is not without merit. Woke represents a small wing of society. Only about 8% of the electorate aligns with the movement. Last month, Outkick documented how wokeism crept into corporate America by seizing control of the megaphone. They got control of all of the messaging. We've all seen that, as if this is mainstream. Quote, "The greatest trick the woke ever pulled was convincing American culture they existed at large," is how they put it, meaning that they existed and that's how everybody felt. It's not. The press and social media duped corporate executives in the process. They've convinced them that the society consensus supports each latest inclusivity campaign and social justice initiative. That couldn't be further from the truth. Award shows, late night television, and NBA each plummeted in 2020 and 2021 when they embraced BLM, another idea more popular on the internet than in reality. On the contrary, it's the brands that have undergone a cultural reversal that have regained consumer support. Take the case of Netflix. The Daily Mail recently profiled a swift change in the Netflix business model. The service removed programming about men birthing babies and anti-racist content from actual racist Ibram X. Kendi. In lieu, Netflix doubled down on confrontational comedy a la The Rock special. The philosophy stirred great financial success. Subscriptions rose by 7.6 million in the last quarter after years of steady decline amid trying to appease the perpetually offended. They really should have known Mulvaney's marketing would be a mess. And maybe they knew it would be. I'm not 100% convinced that they weren't deliberately trying to weaken and destroy the Bud Light American brand in the first place. Like Netflix early on, Bud Light fell for the ruse. It fell for the idea that Mulvaney is supported nationwide and that girlhood branding is empowering. Ultimately, retweets and cheers prove moot when society at large does not support a product. The culture war is not only a battle between the left and the right, it also represents a power struggle between classes. The ruling class cannot control your buying habits. It's perhaps the one element of your life that they can't control. And you weaken them by not supporting the brands who embrace their campaigns, the brands whose interests run afoul of yours. The Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy demonstrates the power of the buyer, of the less influential, of a class of Americans so often neglected by the corporations they enrich. There's a world outside the public sphere, and it's large. Company executives ought to visit it sometime. Bud Light ought to do it immediately. I don't think Bud Light's going to turn the corner. I don't think there's anything they can do to win people back. The brand is massively damaged. People do not want to be seen with the beer. Great article in Outkick about it. Clay Travis did an experiment offering free Bud Light this past weekend. He was not able to get people to drink the beer for free. That's how bad it's gotten. Today, there was a report of a downgrade on the stock for Anheuser-Busch as it deals with their Bud Light crisis. This basically means instead of a recommendation that people should buy the stock because the company looks promising, they're now warning people that if you own it, you may as well hold it. Don't buy it. They're not saying you better sell it, but they're saying you better not do anything with Anheuser-Busch InBev right now because the stock doesn't look good. That's from HSBC, stock market analysts that give ratings and advice on stocks. Yuengling is taking advantage of Bud Light ruining their brand and their relationship with the American people. Yuengling smells Bud Light blood in the water, releases red, white, and blue camo cans to support military vets. As Bud Light is being curb stomped by a customer base that's terrified to be seen drinking out of the blue can, who would want to be seen drinking a Bud Light? Yuengling came out of the gates Monday morning announcing the brand would once again serve up its lagers in red, white, and blue camo cans. Marketing 101. Look at the boxes. It says, "Let's go USA" on them. This is the ultimate American beer. This is something worth spending your money on. It's not a brand that's owned by a big company. It's privately held. It's an actual and real American company. You know who could learn a thing from Yuengling? Anheuser-Busch's old bargaining firm that reportedly has been ousted by the company for its Dylan Mulvaney stunt that has tanked Bud Light sales and has Dick Yuengling laughing all the way to the bank. It's amazing because Disney is doing the same thing with their Marvel brand and with their Star Wars brand. They don't want the traditional classic heroes that everybody likes. They want diverse heroes, inclusive heroes. So they're giving everyone who's competing with them the chance to come in and take their business away. This would have been unthinkable even just 10, 15 years ago. It's incredible. Their priority is not making money. In a statement released Monday by the Pennsylvania-based brand, Chief Administrative Officer Wendy Yuengling leaned into the red, white, and blue theme that is a clear shot at woke Bud Light. Quote, "As the oldest brewery in America, we are dedicated to supporting the U.S. military and are always seeking ways to further show our appreciation to those that protect our country's freedom. We are grateful to partner with Team Red, White, and Blue, an organization that shares our devotion to the men and women that have served as our nation's heroes." The brand has also teamed up with Lee Brice, who will serve as a brand ambassador. Brice used to serve as a Bud Light ambassador. Quote, "I am thrilled to be part of Yuengling's efforts to support Team Red, White, and Blue with these limited edition cans. I can't think of anything better than saluting our troops with a nice cold Yuengling beer this summer," Brice said in today's press release. What a complete and total disaster for Bud Light. At this point, how can Bud Light even think of saving their summer? Their summer is going to be the last summer for Bud Light to be considered an important brand. They've ruined it. They've destroyed it. Bud Light has no way to win their customers back. And if things weren't going bad enough for Bud Light as it is, this guy wearing a Bud Light costume got arrested for DUI. It really happened in Kansas. It's a real thing. Pretty ridiculous. The brand is not going to be successful. Leave Bud Light behind. They are not going to rejuvenate themselves. There's nothing they could possibly do. They're totally insincere, but I still want to see how this is all going to turn out. So I'm going to keep covering this, but I really want to know what you have to say about this in the comments below. Don't you agree the common man still controls the country? We control our spending. They may control everything else, all the messaging, they control government, they control all kinds of things, but they can't tell us what to buy, at least not yet. And as we can show, if we don't like what a company's doing and they don't like how they treat their customers, we don't have to spend the money on it. And as you can see, it has real world results, not just for Bud Light, but for all the Anheuser-Busch brands. And that is the same kind of thing that's happening to Disney. It should happen to every company that doesn't listen to their customers and give customers what they want. We can refuse their narratives. They can get their stocks to tank. And who cares if they turn around or not? Just walk away from the brand and support real American brands. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Really appreciate your comments. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.